It was just another Saturday at the mall for 17-year-old Hakeem. He was with his friends, just hanging out. Well, it was a little chilly. They were laughing, window shopping, not causing any trouble. Maureen was the quiet one in the group, more of an observer. He was just trying to decide if he had enough money for a pretzel when he felt a heavy hand on his shoulder. He turned, and a stern-faced security guard was glaring down at him. You need to leave," the guard said, his voice low and firm. Hakeem was stunned. "What? Why?" "I didn't do anything." His friends stopped talking, their smiles vanishing. The guard's grip tightened. Mall policy. No hoodies. Hakeem looked around. He saw at least 5 other people wearing hoodies, none of them being approached. The only difference he could see. They weren't black. His heart started pounding. This wasn't about a hoodie. "But look at them," Hakeem said, his voice barely a whisper, pointing to another group of teens. The guard's face hardened. "I'm talking to you. You have 2 minutes to leave the premises, or I'll have you escorted out for trespassing." The injustice of it all felt like a punch to the gut. Humiliation washed over him as shoppers started to stare. His friends tried to argue, but the guard was immovable. Defeated, and not wanting to cause a bigger scene, Hakeem turned and walked towards the exit, the guard following him every step of the way, making sure he left. He stepped out into the bright afternoon sun, feeling small and angry. He just wanted to be a normal teenager, but once again, he was reminded that some people would only ever see the color of his skin. Little did that guard, or the mall management, know that this single act of profiling was about to ignite a firestorm they were not prepared for. Hakeem got home, the anger still simmering. He didn't tell his parents at first. He just went to his room and sat there replaying the scene over and over. What if he had refused to leave? What would have happened? The thought was terrifying. That evening, his older sister Amara noticed he was unusually quiet. She gently pried the story out of him. She listened, her expression shifted from concern to pure indignation. Amara was a community activist in the making. She immediately took to social media. Posting a detailed account of what happened to her brother at the Northgate Mall, she used hashtags like #shoppingwhileblack and tagged the mall's official page. She didn't expect much, maybe a few angry comments from friends, but she had underestimated the power of a shared story. By the next morning, her post had exploded. It had been shared hundreds, then thousands of times. Local news outlets picked up the story. The comments section was flooded with people sharing their own similar experiences at the same mall. A pattern was emerging, one of discriminatory enforcement of a vague code of conduct. The mall's PR team issued a weak statement, saying they enforced their policies for the safety of all shoppers and that they regret any misunderstanding. This only added fuel to the fire. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was blatant profiling. The community was outraged. Calls for a boycott of the mall began to circulate online. A local civil rights group announced they were launching an investigation. Hakeem, who just wanted to fade into the background, was suddenly at the center of a citywide controversy. He was nervous, but seeing the outpouring of support also gave him a sense of strength he didn't know he had. This is where the story takes an unexpected turn. The city's mayor, a man named Marcus Thorne, saw the news report on TV. Mayor Thorne was known for being a straight shooter, a man of the people who had grown up in the very same neighborhoods many of the protesters came from. He read Amara's post, then Hakeem's story, and he felt a familiar sting of anger. He had experienced things like this himself as a young man. He didn't just issue a statement, didn't just delegate it to an aide. He picked up his phone and called his chief of staff. "Clear my schedule for tomorrow morning," he said. "I'm going to the mall." The next day, Mayor Thorne, dressed not in a suit, but in jeans and a simple gray hoodie, walked into the Northgate Mall. He wasn't surrounded by an entourage, just a single aide who was live streaming the visit from his phone. The mayor walked through the mall, nodding at shoppers, his hoodie pulled up over his head. He browsed in a few stores, bought a coffee, and sat down in the food court. He was there for nearly an hour. No one said a word to him. No security guard approached him to tell him to take his hood down or to leave. The live stream was going viral. The contrast was stark and undeniable. The video showed the mayor, a powerful man, wearing the exact same item of clothing that got a quiet teenager thrown out, and facing zero consequences. After about an hour, He stood up and walked directly to the mall management office. With the camera still rolling, he walked in and asked to speak to the general manager. The entire city was watching. The confrontation was quiet but intense. The mall manager, flustered and unprepared, tried to explain the policy. Mayor Thorne listened patiently. Then he looked the manager straight in the eye. "I've been here for an hour," he said, his voice calm but firm. "I'm wearing a hoodie. Your security guards have walked past me a dozen times. Why haven't I been asked to leave?" The manager stammered, unable to provide a coherent answer. "This isn't about hoodies, is it?" the mayor continued. "This is about who you think is a threat. A young black man like Hakeem gets targeted while I, the mayor, get a pass. This policy, or at least the way you enforce it, is discriminatory. It's wrong, and it stops today." He informed the manager that the city would be reviewing the mall's business license and that he expected a public apology to Hakeem and his family, as well as mandatory comprehensive anti-bias training for all mall staff and security. The fallout was immediate. The mall's parent company, facing a PR nightmare and potential legal action, quickly complied. They fired the security firm responsible and issued a formal public apology to Hakeem. They pledged to work with community leaders to rewrite their code of conduct and implement the training Mayor Thorne had demanded. Hakeem and his family were invited to meet with both the mayor and the new mall management. In that meeting, Hakeem, who had been so quiet before, found his voice. He spoke about how the incident made him feel, the shame and the anger. He didn't want this to happen to anyone else. The mayor listened, and he assured Hakeem that his voice mattered. His experience had forced a change that would benefit the entire community. What started as a humiliating incident for one teenager became a catalyst for real, tangible change. The Northgate Mall boycott ended, but the conversation it started continued. Other businesses in the city began reevaluating their own policies. Mayor Thorne's simple act of wearing a hoodie became a powerful symbol of solidarity and a lesson in using one's privilege to stand up for those who are marginalized. For Hakeem, the experience was transformative. Went from being a quiet observer to an unlikely but powerful advocate. He started speaking at youth groups, sharing his story and encouraging other young people to know their rights and to speak out against injustice. He learned that even when you feel powerless, your story has value. And when good people in positions of power are willing to listen and act, incredible things can happen. It's a reminder that fighting for fairness isn't always about loud protests. Sometimes it's about a quiet teenager, a determined sister, and a mayor in a hoodie, all standing together for what is right. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as moving as we did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that shines a light on everyday heroes. See you next time.